You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I am your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Monday.
Man, what a weekend. Let me tell you, we complain a lot. I want to talk about this. I don't want to go into great detail, but I want to talk about this. We in the gaming space talk about the negativity of gamers and how they're just mean, hateful people.
It does appear that way. Yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, there are some good eggs out there, but, there's just a lot of negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've always said that the horror community is so great and they're so positive. Well, this weekend they proved me wrong.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, there's got to be some in every group, I guess.
Because Halloween Ends came out. And man, oh man, boy, the internet just went hog wild.
They don't like it?
No. I mean, there are the few, like myself, who enjoyed it, who got what they were trying to do. Then you have the rest of the internet who was just like, fuck this movie. Ah! And I don't know why. Now, I can guess why.
I was going to say, you might know canon or something that did something stray.
Here's how I look at it. Now, apparently Halloween Kills, the one prior to this, got hated on as well. Surprise to me. Like, I didn't really look at any kind of reviews, I think, when that came out. It came out on Peacock, same as this. So I just, as soon as it came out, I was like, I'm watching it tonight. And I'm going to see what happens. Got to the end of it, and I was like, oh my God. I loved it so much, and I was like, I cannot wait to see how this ends. And then Ends comes out, watch it. And I went in with kind of this pre-expectation, not that there was something I wanted to happen, but, some people like to spoil things. And
of course.
A detail kind of came out, and when I heard the way it was described, I was like, man, that's going to piss somebody off. And that's how I kind of laid it in my head. Now, it was going to make me angry if it was done in a way that felt wrong to the character. Because what I've always enjoyed about Halloween and Michael Myers is the realism of it. Granted, it can be a little, stretch that realism just a little bit. But he always feels like a man. He never felt supernatural. Even at the end of Kills, if you have or have not seen it, where he has like this moment of adrenaline and just starts going on a spree, I can still kind of buy it. It's like, I don't know his mental state. I've heard about the, increased strength that people like that can have. So I kind of put that into perspective and say, that's what happened. Like he just had a moment and it was like, rah! And then went ape shit.
Yeah.
And this film did not do what I thought it was going to do, thank goodness. But there were elements about that I heard that they played with. Okay? I thought, and I think this is where most of the internet got angry, I thought it was a fascinating character study.
Okay.
Because it was unlike other Halloween films. This wasn't a straight-up slasher. And we kind of focus more on a new character than we do old characters. But there is a reason for that. At least the way I see it. Because I feel like they're trying to make parallels to where you start to question a lot of details, and how they're kind of breaking down this whole boogeyman legend that Haddonfield has kind of been cursed with. I thought it was fascinating. I thought, like, there was never a moment when I was watching it from beginning to end that I was like, this is stupid, or I don't like that. I was in it.
Well, good.
And I got to the end of it, and I was like, holy shit, that was satisfying. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
And I thought about it all weekend. The rest of the internet did. I mean, I say the rest, but a good chunk was just like, that was horse shit. This is stupid. The worst Halloween movie I've ever seen, which is an absolute lie.
It's like they think their opinion is the highest of opinions.
Right.
And that everyone else is a shit. I just love that anyone is so confident in their own thought processes to put it on the internet that if I disagree, it's stupid. And I just need to make sure all of you know that. But I'm just expressing my opinion online, and I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
Like...
And what's funny, too, is, I mean, I even had a few Twitter friends that were just like, I'm so sick and tired of hearing the negative comments against the movie, you know? And I'm with them, because how I felt about it and how you feel about it.
It's all subjective.
Yeah. I hate, out of all the Halloween films, okay, and this is something I say, absolute fact. Halloween Resurrection, for me, is the absolute worst Halloween film ever. Because it's just ridiculous, 90s,
is that
2000.
the H2O one?
The one after that.
Oh, okay.
Like, even the beginning, like, the moment it starts pisses me off, because suddenly Michael Myers said, you know what? I'm gonna escape dying by swapping myself and my body with this other guy, and then she's gonna cut the head off of this guy who she's gonna think is me. But it's really not. And I've already snuck away. And I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck? Because the way Halloween H2O ended, I felt, to me, was a satisfying conclusion to that saga.
Okay.
She cut his head off. Boom, done. He's dead.
Done. Wow.
And I'm like, all right, perfect. And then they're like, nope, he's still alive. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
And then
that's why I think it's something supernatural, because the abuse those guys can take.
Yeah.
And think about it. How old would he be by now, though, for realsies?
And I think that's the other part that people had a problem with, was how he was portrayed, because when you first see him, he's weak. But that's exactly what I put in perspective. I'm like, he's 65-ish years old.
He's had a long run.
Yeah. Think about it in context from the last film. The last film, he got the hell beat out of him. Like, shot, beaten, stabbed.
Sure.
He got away, sure. But I think after the adrenaline wears off, he's going to feel that shit.
So, like, ow.
Yeah. So when you see him and he's just like struggling, you're like, yeah, he's old. He's injured. I don't think he's got much gas left in the tank.
I feel like a 20-year-old getting beat up like that's still going to walk away a little haggard.
Right. So
I don't care how old you are, but that's not going to help.
So I feel like a lot of that is part of the problem. I don't know. All I've heard is it's garbage. I've never heard reasons why they think it's garbage.
Oh, so they don't present any kind of examples as to why they didn't like it. Oh, okay.
No,
well, then that's useful.
Or at least I didn't see any. There might be a few out there, but I personally didn't see anyone say, hey, I didn't like this movie because, and here are the list of problems. It's always, that movie was stupid, or that movie was shit, and I'll never watch it again. This whole trilogy was garbage. But again, I posit that if you felt the lack of Michael Myers in this film was a problem, I honestly feel like that's what they were trying to do with Kills. They were like, look, we know where we're going with this, and there's going to be a lack of him here. But we're giving you all of it in Kills. He's going to be a killing machine.
Do you think they're setting up a new killer?
No. This story is done. I will say that. Okay. I don't want to spoil anything, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah. They've wrapped up this one.
Yeah, the title, Halloween Ends, that's fitting. It's done. So if they wanted to play with this idea again, they're going to have to do another branching timeline, or they're going to have to do or just a full-on reboot in some other way. Me personally, and I was even talking to Katrina about this, I feel like it should be done. You know,
Yeah.
Like, I love Michael Myers. I love Halloween. I love these movies. But I think it's time we move on to something new. Let that saga be done. Let it, because you've already branched out into so many timelines.
Well, yeah, I feel like that movie's been going as long as I've been alive in some form.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
1978,
okay.
when the first one
Okay,
came out.
longer than.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
So I just, we have other filmmakers who are creating their own horror icons. I think this is one of those characters that needs to be retired. I would love to see another Jason movie, another Friday the 13th, but a part of me feels like he is too another character that needs to be retired. A lot of these characters had their run. Now, if they can find a way maybe to reinvigorate and tell a story like this, where it would be interesting. Friday the 13th, I don't really feel like has a lot of introspective you can do with the character. So that might be a stretch too far. Even Nightmare on Elm Street, because I've been hearing rumblings about that too, where Heather Langenkamp, the one that played Nancy, she's like, I'd love to.
She wants to have one more shot at it. Yeah, I saw that.
Again, how do you do that and not just copy what they did in Halloween? That's what I think that's the thing that bothers me, especially after Texas Chainsaw Massacre did a blatant ripoff and was horrible. And I'm a huge fan of that as well. And I'll even tell you point blank, that movie was shit.
According to Steven, though.
According to me, I don't like it.
Berate someone else who liked it, because fine.
And that was actually the biggest thing that I was trying to say. I tried to stay off the internet and say anything about this movie. In fact, if you listen to Horror Ramblings Friday, get into a greater detail, longer explanation to that trilogy. Because it is divisive. Some people like it, some people don't. And that's okay. There are, just because these movies didn't resonate with you, I understand they're the new thing, but just because they didn't resonate with you, don't mean they don't resonate with someone else. And maybe you like some of the schlockier stuff that other people don't. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
If everyone, like I've said for how long, if everyone liked the same thing, it would be pretty dull in this world. You'd have one movie. You'd have one type of food. You'd have one libation. You'd have one car to drive. Just because you don't like it, that's fine. It's okay to go find something you don't. And it's okay to let people like those things too if you don't happen to like them, Yeah.
Now, I don't
know. It's all subjective.
I don't know if this was planned, but it was a little detail that some, unless you're a huge fan, would pick up on. And it might seem weird to think that it was like known ahead of time, but I also feel like maybe they knew. The font, as weird as this may say to bring this up for this movie, the font they used in each movie represented a reflection of one of the originals, which I didn't quite pick up on. In the first one, you kind of look at it and it's like, oh yeah, that kind of looks like that. Cool. And then this one, the font looked much different. And I'm looking at it going, did they use... And I had to... My brain was sitting there processing it for a minute. And I was like, that's Halloween 3's font. Like the original Halloween 3 that did not have Michael Myers. That was so reviled by people when it came out. And I thought, that's interesting. I think they did. And sure enough, I looked it up and they did. And I was like, man, isn't that funny? The one Halloween movie that people hated back in the 80s when it came out because it didn't have Michael Myers is also reflective of this other movie that does have Michael Myers, but not as much as they would want. And it's now just reviled and hated. And I was like, wouldn't that be funny if, 20, 30 years down the road, it finds its audience?
I find with a lot of these, they start to get a cult following that,
I mean, like I said, I don't want to talk into great detail. If you want to go hear that, Horror Ramblings this Friday.
Check on that, absolutely.
It was really, really amazing what they did. And I applaud the filmmakers for doing something new. I think that's the other part of it that really, it's almost like the Last Jedi problem is you had a filmmaker who said, I'm going to take a big swing and I'm going to do something drastically different. I'm going to do something that you're not going to expect with this franchise. So it's going to be jarring. But if you just take a moment and realize what they're trying to do.
Or just appreciate that as its own medium and the story that person was trying to tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had issues in my own brain doing that before, though, too. So,
yeah. So
self-reflection, go back to it and go, hey, just make this its own medium and start from there and see how you like it.
I mean, I'll even admit, like I was talking about with Halloween 3, I wasn't a fan of it the first time I saw it, and it wasn't necessarily because it was lacking Michael Myers. It was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, my brain wasn't processing it yet. Like, I wasn't sure what I was watching. And with some reflection away from it, I mean, I've got it on 4K now. You know, I appreciate it for what it is. You know, I even have Halloween Resurrection on 4K now, and that was a.
I think you just have a collection problem there, where you're like, I want this series. This got added, so I need it.
All right, so look, I didn't have a choice with Resurrection because I didn't sell it separately. Okay.
Oh, like it came with another.
Yeah,
movie.
It was like, here, we're gonna give you a box set with 6, 7, and 8. And I was like, hey, could I just get the 2? Could you just leave? No. And it's all a set. And they knew. They knew that's how they were going to have to get rid of it. It's like, just put it in the set.
Sub sales on this. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't just, because no one will buy it. So they just slapped it in the set and said, just, there you go. Yep, you're stuck with it now.
I mean, everyone has to have it, whether you watch it or not.
Yeah. All right. So I want to talk about 2 things real quick outside of that. One, I know we probably talked about this when it started, and I just wanted to kind of bring it up since the season ended, was Beavis and Butthead's revival on Paramount+.
Oh, yeah.
I've had a lot of fun with it. Like, what they've tried to do and just kind of modernize while still kind of still maintaining who they are, but bringing them into a modern-day setting. I think a lot of the TikTok and music videos and stuff that they watch, even reality shows when they do the segments, have been hilarious. In fact, the reason I bring it up is the segment they had in this last episode, the finale, like took it a step that we've never seen. And it was so hilarious because they were watching the show that I've never heard. Maybe you've heard of it, called Ghosted. I think it's on MTV. I'm going to assume that's what channel it's on.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So I guess the premise of the show is a couple had a falling out. One of them ghosted the other, and then they bring them back together to talk about why the one person ghosted the other. Okay. And they have to hash it out or whatever. Weird premise, but whatever.
So it's like a reality show.
Yeah. So
kind of setup. Okay.
Yeah. So they set these 2 down, and they're just, you know, Beavis and Butthead are just kind of talking in the background about what the show is, and then Butthead kind of explains it, and he's like, okay. And he's like, well, I'm curious to see what reason he would have to, it was a dude ghosted a girl, and they're like, well, I'd really like to know why he ghosted this girl, you know, I mean, I wouldn't ghost her, and they were just talking about how, you know, he sounds ridiculous, so what reason would he have?
Yeah.
To ghost
her. Well, in Beavis's head, why would you turn down any female? Probably. Right.
And he couldn't understand it. Well, the guy says, you are a sex maniac. And Beavis goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And he's just trying to process what he just heard. He's like, so you're telling me that he broke up with her because he was getting too much sex? And he just blew up. He was like, I can't wrap my head around it. I'm not getting any. There are people around the world not getting, and you're complaining because you're
too much.
And he attacked the TV. He just went ape shit on this guy, had a rant, and then just feels better. Like he just had to get it out. And I was like, that was hilarious because we've not seen that kind of reaction to that effect to where they destroy the TV in which they're watching in the moment.
So blatantly obvious in his face, that, wait, what?
Yeah. Because
this is content now?
The fact that he kind of held his head, just going, whoa, 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 whoa. That was... that
While he was trying to process this.
Yeah.
Wait.
He's like,
what's
wait
changed
a
in
second.
2022 from the 90s? Right.
Yeah. So, I've had a lot of fun with it. They've really played around with the premise and a lot of the ideas. They've done not just them in more modern settings. They've done old Beavis and Butthead to kind of show what that would be like. They've done solo Beavis episodes, which I've kind of actually found kind of amusing. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping it'll come back for another season, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they could do, because it's just been kind of a nice revival. Funny enough, the fact that they've brought this back, I was actually looking at some bag boys at the grocery store the other day, and man, they look like they stepped out of the 90s, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess this is a thing now.
Well, we haven't upgraded pay since then either, so why should the uniforms?
Sure. It was just weird. They had the hair, they had the look, and I almost felt like I heard the, all right, man,
all things old is new again.
Yep, it's been 30 years, so I guess it's time for it to recycle.
Yeah, almost 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, I guess we get like 8 more years or so.
Yeah. Anyway, there was that. And then speaking of that, I wanted to hear your opinion on this, because I had an idea. And if someone would pay me to do this, I would gladly do this.
Okay.
So, I may have told you that I've been kind of rewatching The Golden Girls. Love the show.
No, you didn't. But okay, solid choice.
We've been rewatching The Golden Girls. I've been getting a lot of good laughs out of it. But then it occurred to me, and I'm sure I've noticed this before, but there was just something that hit me one day. And it were the tropes of the time, the sitcom tropes. Okay,
Yeah.
You have to have an episode like this. You have to have an episode about that, and it's the same episode you've seen in all these other sitcoms around that same time. That all, for example, Sophia gets sick, and then they worry that Sophia's going to die. And then by the end of the episode, Sophia's like, I'm back, baby! And she's okay. And it was just like, oh, she had gas or whatever. It was something so ridiculous. And you're like, all right. Simple little episode, But you've seen it in all these other episodes. Or the episode where one of the characters is like, hey, something's happening and I'm going to have to move away. And then they all have to grapple with the idea of this person not being here anymore. Seen it in all of them, and then by the end, everything's fine. I'm staying. Woo!
Yeah.
So I had an idea. Make a sitcom that starts out just like one of these sitcoms. I mean, exactly like one of these 80s sitcoms that have the tropes and everything. But for every trope, you go the opposite way. And then you have to follow through with that.
With the ending for that, or with the resolution
so
for that.
If that character dies, you have to continue on. If that character leaves, you have to continue on. Whatever that trope is, that would be this big moment. You go the opposite way, and you have to deal with those consequences and move on with the show.
Would be interesting, but my God, would you be like terrorizing the writers?
Oh, yeah.
Almost they would almost probably not even add such huge complications at that point because they'd be losing characters.
But that would be the way. I mean, think about it.
True. I mean, I don't know if those kinds of sitcoms are really as popular anymore. I mean, I see some trying, but you don't really see the live format.
No,
I think nearly as much. So.
It might not be a show that could last more than a year.
It may not be able to do single cam like that. It almost would feel too traumatizing for it to be a live one and then to have such, unsatisfying resolutions, I guess, to each thing.
Yeah.
In a live format that almost would have an extra layer of weird to it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would describe the feeling, but you would expect such light levity with a single cam live. And then to do that could be interesting.
I think it would be. I think you'd even have to market it like one of these sitcoms to the point where people are going to be like,
just don't put it on ABC. It'll die way too early.
Yeah. But you just kind of market it in such a way that people might be turned away. And I'd hate for that to be the case, but you'd want people, you're trying to also entice them in some ways, like, hey, look at this sitcom. It's a great, fun time, and you're going to have a lot of fun. And people are like, what the fuck do I want to watch this for? You know, this throwback to shit that I already saw. And then the ending is where you twist everybody. You're like, oh, what? Like, they don't see it coming. Like, they're seeing all the tropes play out, and you're like, yeah, oh, yeah, I see where this is going. I've seen this. But if you stick it out,
get them to stick it out through the end, without
then
turning it off. Like, I've seen this.
Yeah, mind blown. One of those things. So, I don't know. It could be a hard sell, but just a thought I had.
I could see it as like one of those, like a sketch, a weekly sketch thing or something, maybe. Because I think once you've done it once or twice and people are on to you, it might be a little harder to keep the clincher at the end. I don't know.
That's true.
That could be a creative endeavor for a writer.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
To figure out how you could keep something going, even just one season.
Yeah,
just to see if
even just one season.
For one season.
Because I feel like you probably get locked into a corner because of that. Because you've deconstructed,
destroyed everyone's lives.
Yeah. You've torn all these tropes to shreds, and it's like, this is the reason the shows last for 9 seasons. It's because we have to go through this. Everything gets resolved.
Right.
It's like, all right.
Everyone would be fired every day. Yeah, we'd be moving on.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. It just depends on how you could pull it off in a plethora of people to be able to, like, I guess, blow through a season.
We just have to get a smart writer's room. That's all.
Right.
What have you been playing?
So I actually went back and decided to get some achievements on some FMVs that I didn't get before, because I think playing 10 dates got me going, did I get all of them on 5 dates? And since I really wanted more of the rom-com funness, but the demo cut me off, as it does. So I went back and played 5 dates and got I think I had 2 achievements left on that one. So I got to see some new video and a resolution for one of the dates that I hadn't seen already, because I didn't bother to try to fail them all right away. And that was an achievement, to just like make it each date the worst possible date. And I got it. I did it.
Nice.
I made it
you
real bad.
Achievement hunting.
Yes, for FMVs. That's the only one that sometimes I break down for, because usually that means I'm getting new video or new parts of a story or something like that. But if it's just like a grindy thing to collect all of these things, go fuck yourself. That's kind of how I feel about those. If you like to get them, by all means. But once I'm done with the story and have seen them all, I'm usually pretty good. And I want to say I still cannot find... I still cannot find one more achievement too, and it's all Paul Rashid stuff. So I don't know why I can't find it on the gallery. I'm still missing one. But maybe I need to slow down and just play it fully through again, because I got into the habit of, I've seen this video and I'll just skip it, and then I might have missed a hint or something there. So I probably need to just slow down and commit to playing another full listening, paying attention, because they could still throw some stuff in there that I, might have been slightly different, but I didn't notice unless you were paying attention to all the dialogue,
Sure.
And then outside of that, I re-downloaded RimWorld because they had an update, so I wanted to see what that was all about. And it looks like it's a lot of UI stuff. I didn't realize they were prepping for a new DLC. I kind of thought we were done with new content for it. So I'm thinking it's a preparation patch update for new stuff that'll be coming if you want to buy the DLC, because you add more stuff, you probably need to add more UI things and make it a little more streamlined, because you're going to have a whole lot more stuff coming in. So just poked around with that to see what was new with the update. And then we all have to wait it out again until our mods work.
Right.
I thankfully didn't really use a ton of mods in RimWorld, so I'm safe. I just used some UI tweak stuff that I liked, because my old eyes sometimes just can't handle a lot of this stuff anymore. So I rearrange it to how I like it, get the font just so I like it. So most of mine is just UI mods that I use just to make it kinder on my eyeballs. But there's a couple of gameplay mods that I had in there, but nothing so disheartening in my life that I just couldn't be bothered to play the game because all of my mods were broken,
Right.
Which some people do. They're just like, I'm over it. I do that with some games. If I have to mod it to make it fun, I will not take your update until my mods are cleared. Until the people creating was like, yep, compatible. And then I'm like, cool, now I'll go download the update. And then played Slay the Spire on Steam Deck in the living room. The Hubs was out of town.
Oh, nice.
So I just watched all sorts of garbage on TV that I knew he wouldn't have enjoyed, in the living room, and then played my deck everywhere because it didn't matter. And, just took advantage of the last couple days because I'm pretending like I get denied anything I want to do when he is here. But, you got to be fair. I play my PC, he plays the PlayStation. So since I had both at my disposal whenever I wanted at whatever time of day, I ended up watching a bunch of stand-up on Netflix that I knew he probably wouldn't like, and just kind of went through all that. Which, by the way, Elijah Schlesinger's new one actually had me rolling pretty good. Okay. And she was always hit or miss for me. I never hated her, never loved her. It just kind of depended on the special. I don't know. Chicks might find it more funny, if you know what I mean when I say that.
Right.
Because she does do a lot of callbacks for people who grew up that way. Elder millennial, 39 years old, So, but yeah, I found it hilarious. I'll just throw that out there.
Okay.
If we have any female listeners that might find it more fun. I think dudes would find it fun too, but there's a lot more stuff that probably we would get a little bit more. But what about you? What have you been playing?
I just only played the Avengers. I beat the main story, so
there you go.
Now I'm debating on the DLC stuff like the Hawkeye and the Wakanda and the Spider-Man. I mean, I do want to play it, but I feel like I don't know. There was a moment where it was actually yesterday. Matter of fact, I just started thumbing through the PlayStation Plus library, all the games that are at my disposal. And I wasn't looking for anything particular, but I think I was just looking for something that would be maybe something I've not played before. I don't know, maybe just like
a new type altogether, something different.
Yeah, or just something that I haven't played in a long time. So I kept looking for, obviously I added a few that I have wanted to play, and I felt like I had added these already, and maybe I didn't think about it. It was just like the Dark Pictures anthology or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's a few on there now from that.
Yeah, I know that I had added those at one point, and I was just kind of thumbing through, and then I was really trying to eyeball indie games, and I found a few that I don't ever remember hearing about, but then I would look up information about it. I was like, okay, well, this looks like this type of game, but what kind of game is it? Like, I'm trying to remember one specifically that I looked up, like I really dug deep into, and I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. Shit.
Sorry, my brain's wearing off.
Well, I'll see if I can find it on my Google search, because I know I searched it. But it was
an indie game on there?
Okay, here it is. There were three, matter of fact, that I dug up. There was one called Origami, which I almost feel like I remember seeing stuff about, but I didn't. I've never played it, so I looked into it. It seemed interesting, so I was like,
I
all right.
like that one, actually. It's more of like a strategy.
Yeah.
I played it for a minute, but I didn't get totally into it. But yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that it said something about you could do co-op stuff, and I thought, all right, well, that could be kind of fun. I don't know, but it could be. Then there was another game called 9 Monkeys of Shaolin, and it sounded like an old beat-em-up game, like, I guess, Final Fight and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, maybe. But, graphically, it looked more impressive than that. So I thought, perhaps, maybe. It seems like a nice throwback, so I might give it a look. But there was this other game called Moonlighter, and that was the one that kind of caught my eye the most, because it had this kind of top-down Zelda-esque vibe to it, but you're a shopkeeper, and it almost sounded like you had to manage your shop in this town, but then you also had to go out to dungeons and get stuff for your shop. Yeah, I just
wanted to look up some stills so I could see what you were talking about.
Yeah. I don't know. Based on the way it sounded to me, I was like, holy shit, this is a great idea, because one of my all-time favorite aspects in an older game is Dragon Warrior 4 or Dragon Quest 4, depending on where you want to. It was localization for us. We called it Dragon Warrior. Dragon Warrior 4 on the NES, the game was cut up into chapters, and each chapter you followed a different character until they all met up in the final chapter. Chapter 3, to me, was one of my all-time favorite chapters, because you played as a shopkeeper, and at the beginning of the game, you started in the shop. You were behind the counter, selling stuff to people, buying stuff from people, and you were just running your shop. And then later on, you had to go out. You had to go on the adventure. But you could always still return to your shop, sell stuff, and
Right.
I don't know. It's just like, this is a cool little idea. It's something simple. It's nothing big and like groundbreaking. But for an NES game, at the time, it was something new. It was like, holy crap, this is a really awesome little thing, because it's changing the dynamic. I'm doing the thing that I'm always having to have someone else do for me. I'm the shopkeeper now. I get to buy stuff. I get to sell stuff. And it was just neat.
Yeah.
So that's what this kind of reminded me of when I heard the premise, is like, you're a shopkeeper, but it obviously sounds more involved and more detailed about how you would go about it, which again intrigues me a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was trying to find something unique. That one was definitely one that caught my eye. And funny enough, I found out it was like on all these other platforms, because when I was looking it up to look up details, it was like, hey, you can play this. Netflix Games is offering it to you for free. And I was like, I don't want to play this on my phone.
Right.
I mean, I would do it if it was not on the PlayStation, but I mean, it's on the PlayStation, so why wouldn't I play it on that?
Well, just download Netflix on your PlayStation. Or is it just the mobile game?
It's the mobile game part where you can do that.
Because I know they have the interactive movies or whatever. I don't know how you find them unless you go actively search for it now.
Yeah.
There's a Headspace one on there now, siblings, if you want to meditate.
Okay.
I poked through it. I didn't do one. I just saw a new interactive thing. Oh, okay. But I saw it was Headspace. I already knew what that was because I've had the app before. So there you go. If you want to do some interactive meditating on Netflix,
sure.
you can.
I mean, I've honestly thought about meditation and thinking, man, it probably might do me some good, but I just don't think I have. my headspace is like, I'm too busy to not do something. So if you're going to make me sit here and do nothing and clear my head, which probably would benefit me in some way, I can't do it because I've got shit to do. And
it takes a lot of work. I did it for 2 months, and my racing brain syndrome never could allow me to chill. It just ended up making me more frustrated because I'd be getting more mad at myself for constantly getting distracted.
Yeah.
Although I've been told that's not long enough. And I'm like, 2 months isn't long enough to like get some sort of better at all. But I guess not. I know I don't have patience. So that's actively working against me as well. But yeah, it's to each their own. Yeah. I've tried many times. I've had therapists even tell me to do it. And I'm like, how? You tell me to clear my brain. I don't know what that means. That doesn't make any sense to me.
The one time I went to therapy and I really thought I was going to get some help, and I did. I mean, they taught me a few things about myself and made me look at certain elements a little differently, so I appreciate that. But then when they started trying to push the Bible on me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I specifically asked for someone who's not going to do that.
And I wasn't expecting it either. Like, I didn't get that vibe. And then suddenly it was just like, have you thought about bringing Jesus into your life? And I was like, we're done here.
Yeah, just stand up and completely walk out.
Yeah.
Like, no.
It's like, dude, I didn't sign up for this.
I want real tangible things I can use to help me, please. Maybe that's just me.
No, I'm with you. It just caught me off guard, and I was really disappointed. I was like, I thought I got someone who was actually actively trying to help me fix my brain, not
if they
try
could
to convert
separate
me.
Those things, then fine. I went to use the science with me. You can believe whatever you want in your own life.
Yeah.
Use the science with me.
We want to just talk about mental problem, not Jesus problem.
Yeah, no.
Me no want that.
I mean, I'm here mostly because of Jesus problems, so.
That's true. That's true.
Let's talk about that, sir. Why I'm in therapy. 193. Church.
So, did you have any headlines you wanted to talk about? Any news stories?
There was a couple of things that caught my eye that I thought it might be fun to chat with you about.
Okay.
We'll see here. I would like to know a little bit more. It sounds really early, but did you see the creators of Invincible were announcing they're making a video game?
No.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that I could find, so it just sounds like, Corey Walker's like, hey, we're doing this thing, and then left it. But I was trying to read a little bit more on it, and it's from Skybound Entertainment, obviously. So I'm imagining, do you think it would be like how their other style of games, like Walking Dead or what's some of the other ones? Did they produce The Long Dark?
Don't remember.
But, it's more of those like choose your own adventure type kind of games. And I'm not opposed to that idea if it's a good story, but what do you think? Because he didn't say much. He just said 2023 is going to be a good year for Invincible fans all around. So
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that would be the easy route to go, but I would really like to see them do something different.
Sure.
And I don't really know what genre of game you would actually actively be trying to do with that character, because we're talking about the Superman syndrome, where you have a character like Superman in some aspect, but how do you...
What with the twist?
Yeah, how do you do that? How do you play with that?
I wonder if it would just have to be more complications with his friends and family and his life. Well, I guess not really family.
Yeah.
Well, sort of family.
Yeah, I mean...
Dad, at least, for sure, or whatever. But, maybe with other friends and family finding... Or friends, I keep saying friends and family. Family already knows. Friends finding out who they are, or... I would like some action, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
I really would, because and I'm also basing it off of the anime that I watched for the Invincible. I read maybe one or two of the books. Okay, so I don't have deep knowledge of the canon or whatever. But you could have some really fun, awesome scenes with the material for sure. So I am hoping it wouldn't just be QTEs, but
yeah.
Kind of, wondering if they would stray from that kind of formula.
And, I'll even be honest, I think we need to get beyond that Telltale-esque gameplay, because I never did finish the final season of The Walking Dead. Like, I did start it. I was intrigued by it, but I just stopped. And I realized I never went back. So I feel... that I just was not, I don't know, like when I played it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember how that goes. And I don't know, I was just not enticed enough to come back. And I hate it, because I did want to finish the story because I love the characters, but I don't know.
Needed a little more action for you to keep you involved.
I guess I
feel like I started off with it super into it. Season 1, couldn't put it down. I was actually waiting for each episode. I bought in early. And I want to say season 2 even, and then when they started doing the split offs, like the standalone ones with Michonne and like a 469 days or something like that. I think I played those 2, and then after that's when I started to drop off.
Right.
Where maybe I had just gotten tired of it at that point or something. I don't know.
I think it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say it's the gameplay, but I feel like that's what it boils down to. If this was a show, or if this was an animated series, I probably would have watched every episode. I'd have been done. I'd have gotten my conclusion. But you're making me play the story, and I'm kind of in the mood to play a game, not watch a story and press buttons. I don't know.
No, that's fair. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It makes it sound like we'll hear more about it in 2023, and also was teasing that there was just like a whole mess of Invincible stuff coming out. So I'm wondering if that's when the next season's finally coming out too, because it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Hadn't it? Like a year or two? Has it
Quite a
been
bit.
two? I know it's for sure been a year, I feel, since the last episode.
I feel that I heard, I don't remember who said it. Someone had mentioned Invincible here recently. I think it was probably one of the voice actors. Is like, yeah, there's going to be news here pretty soon, so just hang tight. And I don't know if he was talking about that, or I think he was referring to the show. But I do think it will be next year before we actually see the new season. Which,
well, that makes sense. It's already middle of October.
Yeah.
So
but I'm looking forward
to a couple more months to play with. So
I think he was. Again, I could be making shit up. I feel that this is the information that I remember.
I feel this is a memory I have.
I'm trying. But I'm almost positive he did kind of comment about the time gap that we've had from season to season. But whatever the delay was, I think the plan is from here is to... the season should continue properly within, a more... a shorter allotted time than what we're seeing now. So fingers crossed that's the case, but shit happens.
It does. Yeah. Of course, everyone was like, Rhoda. And I'm like, yeah, but it's animated. So I wanted to be stupid and be like, they're already in a booth isolated. Get in there and record. No, how?
Yeah.
People that I think I understand all of the things, but we'll keep our eye out. Maybe next year we'll see an Invincible video game teased anyway, or we'll have some more details about it other than them just going, and I did write this down. I guess it's also the 20th anniversary of the original comics next year. So then that makes sense why they would be amping up a whole bunch of new entertainment for you. And then Valve registered a trademark called Neon Prime. And again, all I know, but I love everyone saying it's Half-Life 3. Okay. So I hope for your sake it is, since nobody can let that go.
That's true.
So the trademark only covered a registration for computer game software, electronic game software, video game software, and computer programs downloadable via the internet. So it sounds like a game, I feel. Or do you think they would do another streaming service to try to compete?
I don't feel that they would have there's no reason to right now.
Yeah.
So... I'd probably lean into the Half-Life 3 thing, since they did recently
do Alex on VR.
Yeah, so Alex...
Does that count? Siblings, tell me, if you were a Half-Life fan, does that count for you? I felt bad for people who didn't have VR.
Sure, and I think that's probably why I could see this being Half-Life 3, is to make up for those people who got to miss out. And again, I don't know what the thing, if that's considered 3 or not.
Right.
But I know there are fans out there, and maybe this is kind of an olive branch to be like, all right, well, here's a game for you so everybody can play, so you don't have to have the VR.
It's a beloved series, man. I tell you, people loved that game, both of them. So
speaking of VR, I don't know if this is on your list or not, but I was a little surprised by this, and it feels like it gives me hope that we could see this game on PlayStation VR 2. Iron Man got ported over to the new Facebook.
The Quest?
Yeah. Or there was some big...
Okay.
I guess there was some big VR showcase with their new VR headset,
maybe with their
whatever
Meta Quest Pro, whatever it's called.
Yeah. But I saw Iron Man VR was listed on their games.
Oh, well, that's cool. I mean, that means I'm still never going to get to play it, but that's cool.
But still...
Yeah.
That means that it's shown to go to another platform. Therefore, you can bring it over to the the new one.
Or 5, sorry.
Yeah,
well,
2,
PSVR
5,
2, PlayStation
17, 38.
There's too many digits and sequels and prequels and I mean, I had like some notes written about the MetaQuest Pro, but then I just wasn't sure because whether we really wanted to talk about it, because it's definitely not a headset really geared towards gamers at all. It's like, as I was doing more reading about it, because Vaz did mention in the Discord, I was like, Guru, what is this $1,500 price tag for what? What are they doing? And yeah, it is more for businesses and the AR that can be used with it and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Could you imagine though, when you do your work 8 hours in this freaking headset? Though?
No.
I don't know.
But this is the world that man wants to put us in. Here we go. We're going to be, 1 minute you can be playing a video game, and then the next minute you could be in a meeting with all your friends.
With legs.
With
That was the big announcement. Your avatars can have legs now.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm so glad we have legs in the virtual world.
Which honestly is a step up, because you just wanted that. I don't know. I feel like VR chat had legs too, but I can't remember now.
But why do you need legs?
I don't know. I don't know why he's trying so hard to get us all into this metaverse. I mean, I do know why, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that day will come.
Maybe
you got to get businesses to be cool with people still working from home before you want to throw a VR headset on them to work from anywhere. And companies just can't stand. I can't watch over my peons all day long.
I mean, think about this. What if, we're all making fun of Mr. Robot, but what if he is secretly plotting? Like he's a supervillain in the background. It's like, I'll get them all into the metaverse and then I will rule the world.
I absolutely believe that could be the case.
Yeah. But you're going to have...
There's something non-human about that man.
But he's going to have to drop that price tag, okay? You can't get everybody into the metaverse with a $1,500 price tag.
Well, and like I said, I think this is really just geared towards like a certain type of business people that would have that kind of cash to throw around. I mean, I don't know.
But if you're going to
someone as small fry as me in this world will never understand, I guess, high business corporate execs who would find use for something like this.
But if
I don't know that world.
If you're going to lock away all the corporate heads into the metaverse, you're going to let all the crazies run wild out here, all the consumers.
You know what, though? That's not a bad idea. Are you really just rounding up the heads and putting them somewhere else? That's okay. I
mean, Facebook could then suddenly become the end-all, be-all company.
Where they took all the corporate execs. Look what I did for you. Zuckerberg for president.
Mm-hmm. Suddenly he's a superhero.
Right?
I tricked you all.
Oh, we joke, but that could totally
Yeah.
happen.
This day and age.
But I did want to chat with you about that tweet that I showed you from Alexandre S. With that body cam style game that he's doing using Unreal Engine 5. Like, what?
Yeah. That was really impressive and eerie how accurate it is, or real. I mean, I saw one of the comments, it was probably one of the first ones up the top, said, no offense, but this almost seems like, what did they call it? A murder simulator. Like they used to say about certain games way back when, when...
Oh, it's definitely going to have that feedback.
Sure.
I get a little scared because we're in, and this is a small part of me. I'm trying to still say logical, but we're in such a day and age where people love to fabricate things. Mm-hmm. And the easier we make everything to look more realistic, like just how much more crazy we're all going to become over misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
I see things like that and go, oh, crap, the evil in the world that could get a hold of this, even though I realize it's awesome tech. Mm-hmm. It could make some really amazing games and things of that nature. But I'm also really worried about the nefarious people. And we're too stupid to really differentiate as a whole, as the human race. Like, as a whole, we're dumb in numbers.
Well,
we're smart by ourselves.
I'd say the only saving grace at this point is still that uncanny valley that there is some element to it that you can tell is fake. Mm-hmm. Like, as you watch it enough, you're like, okay, I see it. I see it now. So it just feels a little unnatural.
We don't look at things that long.
Right.
We're very happy to pass along based on a headline we liked or, something that quick knee-jerk reaction. Mm-hmm. But as far as the game itself, though, with the graphics and stuff, that is really impressive. And I think, honestly, horror game. Hello?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I felt like that environment would lend itself so much more to just the lighting and even the fisheye lens, the slight fisheye lens effects that it had right there. 100%, I think, for a horror game. And maybe that would be.
Sure.
Literally all the person said was body cam style video game. We don't know any plot, any,
But I mean, yeah, found footage type kind of horror game, sure. But to the point of the guy kind of calling it a murder simulator, what do you call every Call of Duty game, every Medal of Honor where you're fighting a war? Is that not the same thing?
Maybe it's just a game they don't want to play, so it's stupid, remember?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. That argument could be made for lots of video games for the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah, I was just...
Which is also what we've been saying. Like, will you shut up about violence in video games? But, yeah. That one, though... I think it would make me sick, though. I'll just put it this way. I'm not good with shaky cam anything. You make a full movie in it, I'm not going to watch it. Could be the best plot story I've ever heard in my life, but if you're just going to make me want to vomit the entire time I'm watching it, I'm not having a good time. So I do not do shaky cam stuff. So I wouldn't get into it anyway.
And could you imagine that in VR? Holy shit.
Oh my God, I'd lose my chunks so quick.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not like as VR battle worn anymore. So maybe 5 minutes would be all I could last in it, because I can still remember one time. I think Vaz and I were screwing around in VR chat or something, and we had found a room that you could put on wings. Mm-hmm. And so my character, I got up on there and did it, but I was holding the joystick forward, and my whole VR body did like a flip, and I've never taken that helmet off so fast in all my life. My entire body, the equilibrium just got completely effed on it. And I was like, I couldn't even put my headset back on to like close out the program because I was upside down. I just so fast. I'm like, I'm just going to shut it off from here. I'll load back in. So no, I don't think I can handle it. You can't flip me around.
All right.
You can't flip me around. My brain will not understand. But yeah, those are the only things that I saw this week that I thought interesting enough that I wanted to chat with you about. I don't know. Slow news week could be good or bad.
Yeah.
Could be good or bad, but I didn't see anything like really huge. Oh, Marvel Spider-Man, though, is coming to PC for those who might be interested. November 18th was the date that I had seen. Miles Morales. Sorry. Miles Morales. I need to be more specific. The Miles Morales is coming out on November 18th. So if you're excited to play it on PC, there you go. Got about a month to wait.
Yeah. So for the next 2 weeks, I really, really wish I had more time. I really do, and I'm trying. People, I had a video this week, should be out today. If you want to go look for that, Leprechaun versus the Wishmaster.
Oh, was that fun?
It was a little difficult because I had not watched, it had been a long time since I won't say a long time. Leprechaun 1 and 2 I'd watched fairly recently just because I was like,
whatever. Yeah, here it is.
What the hell? I haven't watched these in a while. Why not? But I don't ever remember watching any of the others. Mm-hmm. And Wishmaster was a series that I was aware of, but I don't think I ever watched. Because I think it released, or the very first one released at a time that, I was 16, 17. So, movies were not really something I was focused on, even though I kind of was, but certain ones. And it's like I remembered the trailer, too. That was the other weird part, is I saw a trailer for it, and it was how the trailer ended. Because the letters were like shooting together to create the title, and they even used like Star Wars sound effects. It was like Wishmaster, and I was like, I remember that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the movie. So I kind of learned a little bit, and it actually enticed me to watch the movie. It's okay. That's all I can say. It's okay.
Well, what year was it out?
97.
That's probably a good compliment, though.
Yeah, I mean...
97, it was okay.
Like, for example, one of the most interesting aspects of the movie is that it has so many horror icons in it. It's ridiculous. It has Kane Hodder, who played Jason. You have Robert Englund, played Freddy. Okay. Tony Todd, who played the Candyman. Reggie Bannister, who was in Phantasm. Even had Angus Scrimm, who was also in Phantasm, played the tall man. He was doing the narration at the beginning.
Oh, damn.
Ted Raimi's in it. He actually gets killed at the beginning. like one of the first.
Yeah.
There might have been more. I don't know if you know the name Buck Flower. He's actually been in a lot of stuff. He's a real. If you know him from anything, it would be Back to the Future. He was the bum on the bench in the town.
Yeah.
Crazy
You're so
drunk
good with
driver.
people's names. That's so impressive for me that you can remember names.
Yeah.
Like it's a superpower. I hope you hold on to.
I try. But like I said, there's a great idea for a movie in there. I just felt like the execution could have been better. It wasn't bad.
I think it was just trapped in its time. Like if they were able to do something now with it, it would be a better flick or
perhaps if you could kind of work out some of the kinks that it had. But I think another problem that kind of made me lose interest is I couldn't find it on a streaming service that did not make me sit through commercials. Yeah. And I tried watching it on Freevee, and I don't think I'll be watching another damn movie on Freevee ever again because I would be like, someone would be mid-sentence and then commercial. And I was like, what the fuck, man? You couldn't find a better spot to end this?
Right.
So I think that kind of took me out of it a little bit. So
fair,
I blame
though.
I blame the service for that. I should have went to Tubi or
Well, no, you shouldn't. The person who's cutting it together should be intelligent enough to know to do it at some sort of little break or height.
I know.
You know, not in the middle of a conversation. Jesus
but you
Christ,
know,
run your
at least
network.
but at least Tubi, I know when a commercial's coming. I'll give them credit for that, and I should probably just use because they'll start a little timer up at the top. You know, like 5, 4, 3, 2, and they usually find a good cutting off point, which I appreciate.
Okay, I was gonna say timer or not. If you're giving me in the middle of a sentence, I'm gonna be upset. But yes.
So I still kind of want to watch part 2 because that was also another one that I was kind of introduced to the main guy in that, Andrew Divoff, who played the Jin or however you want to say it. He's in that, and I really like his voice. You know, he's got this very interesting voice and how he says things. Careful what you wish for. And he drags out his words. But it's fun. It's just like he's really interesting. So I might watch that. Just because I don't know if I'll watch the other 2 because I heard they're garbage and I've got limits.
I don't know. That's a series I've never watched.
But yeah, in editing this, like it really kind of tested me a little bit because I felt so unprepared. You know, like with some of the other ones, I rewatched some of the movies, like all the information was fresh in my head, but these I was just like, I don't know shit. So I was reading over the script for it, and they would mention a wish here and a thing there. And luckily, one of the guy that wrote it, he actually gave me the movie in which a certain wish was in. So if I needed that as a reference, it helped. But I don't know. There would just be times where they'd talk about their powers and their abilities. It's like, where the hell is this in a movie? You know, and now I have to dig this up. Like one of the things, I think one of the bigger struggles that I had was they mentioned the leprechaun granting wishes. And I was like, when the fuck did the leprechaun ever grant wishes? And apparently it was like a big plot point in part 3, I think. That was the one I hadn't watched.
I think I'd seen 2. Is that the one Jennifer Aniston was in?
She was in the first
one. Like one of her first roles? Okay, then that's the one I had seen.
And then, so again, I hadn't watched 3. I didn't know about the wishes thing. And I don't know, I had to figure out where all these little details were. Same with Wishmaster. I didn't have an entire movie to pull from. I had to dig up clips and stuff to even find that, and they're hard to find.
Oh, I bet. They're old too.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I mean, you can find full movies of things on YouTube sometimes.
Oh, true.
I mean, trying to find, I went so far, and this is how bad I was trying to dig up footage. I went so far as I found a video essay about all the movies, but in Hindi. So I didn't have to worry about what they were saying. I just needed the footage.
Oh, well, okay, there you go.
So it was just like, hey, if you're talking about it and all you're doing is showing clips. But the worst part about that was, I don't know who this person was, but they cannot edit for shit. Because they did some of the shittiest editing that I've ever seen in my life. Don't know why they did that because I don't understand Hindi. And I was just like, all right, I'll just, at least I have extra footage. I'll see what I can do to utilize it. Like there was one shot that they had that was so perfect that complemented another clip that I had that cut off early. And I had to make them work, even though the video quality differed a little bit from them. I don't know. It was a nightmare. I didn't think I was going to get it done in time. And I just felt like my brain was trying to figure this out. Mm-hmm. But when I sent it over to my producer, what did I get back?
Loved it, I'm sure.
He said, dude, you gave these B movie icons an A+ video. And I was like, come on, man. He's
must just be rough to be so good.
I mean, I don't know. I don't like being.
I would take it. Just be like, that's nice. You got someone to appreciate.
No, I do.
How good you are, you know? Yeah.
But
I get it. I don't know how to take compliments either.
Yeah.
I've learned to just try to say thank you and move on. Even in my head, though, is a whole other story.
So I was really appreciative. I even kind of looked over some of, like, I even noticed one issue that I had after I reviewed it. Because I'd noticed that the guy who does the narration, if I can ever catch him messing up a word, at first I didn't say anything, and I was just like, do I say something? Do I not say something? I don't know. And then, so now I'm kind of in the, like, after the first time it happened, I said, yeah, I heard it. I just wasn't sure if I should say something. So, but now, like with this one, there were like 2 lines where it's like he was going to say one thing, and then he shifted mid-word, Like your brain's thinking of something else, and you're like, and you catch yourself. So
can't you just edit that out?
Not in a way that it would work.
Oh. Okay.
So I just figured if he can just re-record that one line, I can just plop it back in.
Or just let him know if he messes it up, give it a 2 count, and start it again. That way you can just like snip that part out, like 1, 2, and then start the line again or something.
Well, that's the part of it that I don't understand, and maybe I should ask, but I don't want to be
what their process is or
because I feel like for something like that, you would have heard that, you would have caught yourself doing that and be like, shit, I need to make a note of that and come back and fix that, because you can't tell me he's just sitting there. I mean, if the dude can do this, I fucking applaud him. Like, he's got it sitting right there, and he just continues to read and doesn't screw anything up.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Like, I would, because, I mean, me personally, just sitting here when I have to do stuff like that, like the podcast or symbol stuff, I have my thoughts written out. Yeah. But at some point, I'm reading, and my brain and my eyes don't see eye to eye, and I'll go,
Eric, 1, 2, starting it again.
Exactly. So I edit that out so they don't have to deal with it. That's my shit.
Good.
That and there are a few times that I've not, because I've not had time, and I was just like, shit, I'll just, here you go, because I know everybody else does it. I'm just trying to help them out.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get that.
So I mean, that's how it seems to me. Like he has done a reading. He's given me just the basic bits, and then that's what I get. If that's not the case, again, why are you not catching when you've said something amiss? Make a note. Or re-record it. I don't know what it is.
Or if they legit thought they said it right. I don't know.
Well,
sometimes I don't realize I said something wrong until I hear other people say it out loud, like a word I've never heard said out loud. I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
But now I've said it this way for 10 years.
Well, see, the one of the lines, it was like I can understand where his mind was, because I feel like it's something I would have done too. Where you say every day of the week or something like that. The line was every day of the year. But I think in his head he was thinking week.
Sure.
And he was just kind of rolling through it. And as he went to say week, his brain was like, no, year. And he was like, year. And you just hear the transition.
Aww,
and I was like, oh, okay. So I got that. I would have done it too, probably, if you're just, your brain's not on the same. The other one, it was just, I don't know, it's like a slip of the tongue. Like he added an extra letter to the word And I was like, did he just say
See,
that?
you know what you should do is like somehow make that a fun joke.
Yeah. That would
Somehow like inside there, you know, where it looks completely intentional and you turned it into a gem, you know?
There was a bit in there that I turned into a joke, not to give away the video, but to me, it was a corny little joke, and I'm hoping people get it. And if you're listening to this, I'm going to spoil it for you. I think the term was sometimes things don't pan out, and I found a clip where the leprechaun was dropping pans on someone's head. It's a simple gag. It's a simple gag.
Yep.
But I'm hoping people pick up on it because it goes through the flow.
Even if just two people smiled.
Yeah.
There you go. The rest of the internet, that was so stupid. You like, oh, well.
You know, I've actually tried to look up comments of the videos just to see what people say, and I mean,
Oh yeah.
I've not heard anyone complain about what I do.
There you go.
So I mean, usually it's just like, well, I don't like this. Like I've heard people bitch about the narrator, like Sean, the guy Sean. I mean, I think he's got a great voice.
Yes, he does.
But they're always just like, finally getting used to having to hear this guy talk, and I'm like, fuck you.
Who said you had to?
Yeah, exactly.
Hilarious. Didn't know it was like Clockwork Orange for you. You're forced to sit there with your eyes pried open, you know.
Right.
Yeah. No, I always ignore the negative ones. I still every once in a while see comments on like some of my videos, and my God, when was the last time I put anything up? It's been years. And
Right.
it's usually always someone like, "Who do you think you are?" And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. So just be, you know, like.
all right.
A woman who played a video game she liked and did a review on it. That's who I thought I was. But, you know, like, what does that even mean?
While we're talking about comments, yeah, we're going to go down this rabbit hole real quick. I want to say something point blank. And I don't know who the fuck this person is, and they're getting on my nerves.
Oh, okay.
Every single time that I post a picture on Instagram of our icon,
Oh, God. Who's advertising?
every fucking time there is a new person, a new account, but yet it always says the same thing. And I can get one, I can get three. I've gotten a lot, but it always says promoted on Reality Records. I don't know who the fuck that is, and I'm not promoting
they're just advertising
shit.
on your tweet or your Insta. Yeah.
Yeah. So
delete it.
what do I do every single time? Report it as spam and block that account because I'm so sick and tired of this, and it continues to happen. Why?
Yeah, even when I would post on Instagram, there would always be someone trying to advertise on it.
But I don't understand what this is. Why are all these different accounts connected to this one thing?
Because they keep getting banned and reported as spam, so they have to keep creating another account.
So why is this Reality Records thing, why are they not spam? Why have they not been reported? Because they're always the name that people are like promoted on this thing. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, we should go there. I'm like, are we promoted on that thing? We don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I don't get people. The internet's just a weird, strange thing.
So if anyone's listening who happens to be that person that's doing that, stop.
Stop.
Getting on my nerves.
Don't care about your thing.
If you're going to help us out, sure, then we'll talk. But you're not.
Yeah.
You're just telling me to do a thing that you're trying to get me to do, and I don't want to do that. So stop.
Yep. No, I don't know. I tend to ignore those too, but I haven't posted on it. Well, I tweeted like twice this week. I think I deserve an Attagirl for that.
You do. You did very, very well.
I did better. No, I don't know if anybody cared, but I did do better.
Hey, you did a thing, and that's all that
Did a
matters.
thing. Tried to get myself on there.
While we're talking about, I know we're getting off the rails here. We're probably really done, but I've got.
Well, at least we're doing it in a better version for y'all, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
now you could just stop listening knowing the end's the rambling for dude.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like the rambling. So we put all the good stuff up front this time.
Yeah,
about
what was
the
his
games.
name? Wuffy?
I have no idea.
Wubby?
I
Woofy?
didn't look that hard.
See? He's so unimportant we've forgotten who he is.
Exactly.
I'm sorry if we insulted you. You insulted us. Anyway,
Probably not listening.
did you see the trailer? I know we'd seen this before, and I guess for some reason I thought the game was out. And I don't know why my brain thought this, but apparently there was an official trailer for this game. It's coming out now. Consoles, PC. Choo Choo Charlie.
Yes, we talked
Yeah.
about that almost a year ago.
Yeah,
I think.
I think that's when the original, because I was trying to figure out. I was like, did this game not come out already? And
Yeah,
then
it
I
makes
was
sense
doing
for
some
Halloween-y.
yeah, I did some digging, and they were like, no, it was about this time last year. A trailer came out promoting it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I did see
Yeah.
something about it. It just didn't come out yet. So yeah, an official trailer saying it's going to be on all platforms.
Right in time for spooky season.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
this year, right?
I believe.
Let's see. Choo Choo Charlie. Choo Charlie release date according to the interwebs. December 9th.
Oh
wow.
well, that's really not a Halloween
For
release.
Christmas. All right. Well,
Sure.
Choo Choo Charles will release on December 9th. There you go.
I mean, you gotta give it credit. It's
It looks messed up to all
yeah.
hell for sure. Yeah, like not in a bad way. Well, I mean, I guess that's up to you. But yeah, it looks creepy AF.
I don't know if it's a game I want to play, but I mean, I
See,
think I'd give it a
you
go.
would over me.
You know, I wouldn't be terrified to try it. I would like to try it, but I know.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
I think Katrina would probably have a heart attack because it combines several elements of things that she doesn't like. Because Choo Choo Charlie has a clown face.
Does it
Ki-
though?
Is it clowny, or am I just thinking it is?
I think it's just monstery.
I thought it kind of had like the red and white kind of face and whatnot. Maybe
Well, I thought that was lighting, but you could be right.
okay.
But
well, there's a
let me blow this
clown-esque looking design
Yeah,
to
maybe
his
it does
face,
a little
in
bit,
in
yeah.
a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
And then it turns into a spider.
Yes. Now that's the one that I'm just gonna be like, nope.
Yeah. So I think all that combined, and if she had a fear of trains, I mean, this would just be like an absolute no.
It's a night trifecta. Look at y'all.
So
No, yeah, I think you're right about
There's
that.
that.
So now that I see that, but yeah. Oh wow, weird that they would choose December.
yeah, really, you know. And I'm sorry for my.
Halloween.
I can't help it. I don't know what happened.
It's that
all of a
time of
sudden.
year, man. So get all phlegmy, allergies, gross stuff in the air.
So real quick, I guess to close out the show, I did kind of throw because I wanted to do something the rest of the year for Halloween, and I've had this idea for some history stories about Halloween or horror games or something to that effect, and I didn't have time because of the video. But hopefully next week I'll have a better story. So this week I've got a very short story about some games and a thing that I didn't even know existed. I knew the games existed, but I didn't know the company behind it. And I found it to be kind of interesting. So I'll just kind of run through this. It's not very long, but I just thought it would be fun.
Little story time, yeah.
So I don't know if you remember or not, but 2 horror games predate the games on the NES. Obviously, we would naturally think something like Friday the 13th. It was a horror-themed game or, based on a horror franchise.
You said it predates Nintendo?
Predates that game on Nintendo, yes.
Oh, okay.
And even Nightmare on Elm Street, which I think came out after Nightmare
Yeah,
on
because I
Friday the 13th.
remember those being on Nintendo.
So, did you happen to know that 2 other horror icons had games on the Atari?
Maybe. Because something sort of jogged a memory of that being a possibility, but I'm not going to remember what it was. I bet if you say it, I might then go, oh, yeah. Because I had the Atari. I'm trying to remember.
Way back when, and I think this was probably... see, I didn't do all my details. Of course, I couldn't find a lot on this. That was the weird thing
Because it had to be
about
early
it, too.
80s, maybe
Yeah.
late 70s.
So probably
early 80s.
around the 81, 82, perhaps. Atari 2600 had 2 games released based on horror franchises. One technically wasn't a franchise at the moment. The other could be starting. Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween.
Oh. Halloween, I think, was the one I kind of. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, no, I did not know. Okay, continue.
So these games were released under Wizard Video Games. Have you ever heard of this label?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know if it's just because it's been adopted by other companies and other things since then. I feel like I know, like Wizard World, Wizard this. Yeah.
As weird as it was, and this is why I found it fascinating, because some may know who these companies are and some may not. And hopefully it'll just educate or fascinate if you do or don't know it. So Wizard Video Games was a company that specialized in video games for adults. And they were meant to have violent content. Hence, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween, you're going around doing all the killing
If you're
and whatnot.
playing the monster, yeah. Or
Sure. And this was during the Wild West of the Atari days. We know that there were other publishers out there like Mystique who did very, very adult video games and very, very garbage video games too. They can all go to hell. That one game just makes me mad. Anyway, several of them make me mad. Because of the content and its, like, who it was trying to attach to, there were a lot of retailers that refused to sell them. They did not want that stigma attached to their store. They didn't want the controversy. So if they did, in fact, sell the games, they would put them behind the counter and you would have to ask for it.
Kind of like if you're renting porn, where you had to go to the back room with the curtain.
Pretty much. Because of that, they didn't really sell all that well. And these were technically the only 2 games, Wizard video games, actually released.
Ever?
Ever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But, now you would think, it's like, all right, well, that kind of sucks for them. I mean, they only got 2 and then they shut down. Well, what's fascinating about it is who was behind Wizard video games. Because there was also Wizard Video. Wizard Video was a home video distribution company. And they did releases, VHS releases for movies.
Maybe that's where it sounds familiar. I feel like I've seen a splash screen or something.
Probably. Okay. So they did VHS releases of movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I Spit on Your Grave, Zombie, you know, with the one where his face is all like, Rah, and it's the Italian one. I always thought that was fascinating. The movie itself, not so much, but good, you know, good cover art.
Sure.
So if you think it sounds familiar, or even if it doesn't, you might be interested to know that there were a lot of... This happened to be a subsidiary of another company. And have you ever heard of Empire International Pictures?
I don't know for sure.
Okay, well, as I go through this list, I will eventually come to a name that probably will click.
Okay.
Because there seemed to be like this ladder that was being created through this company. So Empire International, I remember seeing a few, like their name attached to certain movies. B-grade horror films, as we've seen before. They also did releases between 1982 and 83. Another company, Wizard, released stuff called, or like family releases under Family Home Entertainment. Now, if the name doesn't sound familiar, I guarantee you'd know the logo. Especially if you watch some of those family releases back then. All it said was FHE, and it would draw like a little crayon on the screen with this crazy little music like...
Maybe. Yeah.
Like the very original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, I know was released under that banner because I remember seeing that like little F, H,
yeah.
E. Yeah. It's like, okay, great.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Empire also distributed other films under Force Video and Cult Video. They were just all over the place. And then subsequently, there was Spectrum Video, and they became their distribution partner. And then in 1985, Empire revived Force Video and Lightning Video as a subsidiary of Vestron Video.
Oh, Jesus. And
then they agreed to distribute Force Video's releases, thereby distributing an agreement with Lightning would extend to Wizard in 1986. Then, in 1987... Jesus, this
is such a short period of time.
Yes. Oh, yes. This man moves fast. I haven't even gotten to the man behind it all.
Oh, God.
In 1987, Empire formed a new division because all that shit wasn't enough.
Right. Sounds like a shell game almost, but here you go.
It really, really does. So, in 87, formed a new division, Urban Classics, which distributed films both theatrically and subsequently on video. All this stuff. He was just throwing money around, trying to get stuff going. It really wasn't until maybe all this collapsed, by the way.
Oh, did it now? All right.
You know, after you set up enough toothpicks, they're going to collapse under the weight of
Right.
everything you're trying to do. But I think it's a part of this person's history that people forget about. There were several releases that were actual productions of the company, not just, you know, VHS releases of other stuff. He was not involved in the making of the movies I mentioned before. But he did go on to create one of the most prominent B-movie companies that actually collapsed and did revive itself today. Have you ever heard of the man, the myth, the legend named Charles Band? Charles Band was the man.
It's immediately slipped my brain.
It's okay. Charles Band was the man behind all these companies and subsidiaries.
Pyramid schemes going on here.
But the one that stuck the most would be Full Moon Entertainment,
That
behind
sounds familiar.
Puppet Master, Trancers, Subspecies, all these B movies that came out straight to video in the early 90s into the late 90s until that collapsed. But in all honesty, that wasn't his fault. I will say that, because if you take a look at the way the video market was changing at the time, you know, VHS sales were down. I mean, like, he came in and he like really hammered into the VHS craze at the time. And that's why all these movies were going straight to video. They were coming out, you know, just bam, 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 just pumping them out and putting them out. And, I mean, they were thriving. I got caught up in it. Like, I was always looking forward to the next VHS video release from Full Moon. But eventually, it just kind of slipped through my fingers. And, like, the actual, you know, VHS craze, the video store craze, it collapsed because it became unsustainable.
Sure.
And, you know,
over and over and over.
Yeah, but here we go. Again, Full Moon Features, I think, is where he's at now. They're alive and well, streaming.
Like
So you
today, 2022, or today in your story?
No. Today in 2022,
Oh, okay.
Full Moon Features is you can get a streaming service for it. You can watch all their old movies going back to the Empire days. I never realized. Granted, as a kid in the 90s, I was just, you know, the movies were what they were, and I didn't think. I just thought that's horror movies.
That's what we had then, so you didn't think twice about it, you know?
Well,
It's just what it was.
It was the content of the movies. The movies were, no matter what it was, it could be a sci-fi story, it could be a horror movie, whatever, but it was going to have blood, and it was going to have boobs, and
Oh, sure.
I was there for it. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh,
know,
yeah,
because
boobies.
I'm a teenage boy at the time, you know? Whatever.
Yeah. They still do that for all the grown men.
Well, you know what? It's funny because he is the one of the few people in the industry, and how he's not gotten canceled, I don't know. I'm not saying he's a creep. I
Are
don't
we
know.
digging up 20 years ago stuff or like recent stuff though?
But no, I remember hearing an interview with him, and I honestly feel like it was on the last drive-in, where they had talked about the content in the movies. There's a formula. You got the blood, you got the boobs, you got the beasts. You put all that in, and it's gold.
Yeah.
And he got questioned about it one time. He's like, do we need the nudity? And he's like, yeah, we need the nudity because that's what people are here for. And someone was just like, but it just seems like, he's like, who cares?
Well, it's never necessary.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, it's
Can
not.
you show me one boob scene where like the plot would have been completely lost had they not put it in, and we would all be completely confused and not understanding what's happening? No, it's just for fun.
It is.
Literally, there's no reason. Just
I mean,
for fun.
One of the last Full Moon features that I actually watched, I think it was a movie based off of one of the Puppet Master characters, Blade, and it was just like
Okay.
a solo movie with that character. Now, I had not really kept up with some of the later entries because, and I don't mean to be like one of these, didn't look very good. They got new people doing the puppets, and I don't know. I just have this purity thing where I look back to the old puppets, and they just have this look, and I love their look. And whoever's doing the puppets now, they just don't look the same, and it just kind of feels cheap. And you know, I look at him and I'm just like, oh man, you look so
Nostalgia
good.
is a tough drug to beat, though, too. Yeah.
So it's a little hard for me to watch these puppets when they don't look as good as they used to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I tried watching this movie. It wasn't very long. And there was just a scene where the main girl just gets completely nude. And I'm like, the fuck does this have to do with anything? Nothing. Yeah. It's just like, here, there you go. You get to see her naked body, top to bottom. And I was like, okay. So it's just the fact that he still goes with that and he still does that, and it's people still go with it, because you'd feel like back in the 80s and 90s, you know, it was just like, well, it's expected. And today we can say no. But yet and I'm not saying that there aren't women who, I don't know. I feel
like they would, they're doing what they want to do, you know?
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping. There. I'm hoping that there's never been a situation with Charles Band where because these movies
never, who knows?
And again, I'm not making any assumptions. I don't know shit about the man. I've never heard a bad thing about the man. So
there's no reason to put that out there unless you have. Yeah.
Right. So my hope is that he has never pressured a woman into doing something she's uncomfortable with. If every woman who took her top off...
Hopefully it was just up front in the audition that it came with nudity. So when they were auditioning, they already knew that.
Yeah, with these
at least
particular...
today they do that. I don't know if they did that 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But I feel like you kind of had to agree to it, I
hope. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there are no nudity clauses in movie contracts and stuff like that. And his company, I mean, it's almost a given. Like, you look at it and be like, oh, I see the kind of movies you produce. You're going to want me to do this? Okay. So I'm aware of what I'm getting into.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fair enough. And I think that's absolutely, you know what you signed up for. Now, if you don't want to do it, there's the door.
Yeah,
but
just don't do it, yeah.
I hope that there's never been an instance where he forced anyone into it.
Sure.
But
always the hope. Always the hope that it was willing participants.
Sure. But yeah, I just, wasn't a whole hell of a lot to get around to, just those two games. I just thought it would be fun to kind of look at it and be like, oh, look at that. Wizard Video is actually Full Moon Entertainment.
Like those sounded familiar. So yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, the man's still out there doing his thing. Franchises are what they are. Right. Good on him. You know, right. They did. They affected me in my youth, how I kind of viewed certain movies. I remember writing movie ideas. That's what I'll call them. Scripted them out and everything, and drew, what do you call them? No, I did do boobs. But what do you call them? I mean, I would say it's like a comic storyboard. Yeah. It was like done in a comic style, but it would be a storyboard.
Sure. I worked with a director who actually did that too as part of their prep, and during rehearsal would show us their storyboard, and I was like, oh, okay, I
mean, they weren't very good drawings because I wasn't like a talented artist at the time.
Well, they didn't need to be. You're just jotting an idea. It's not a cartoon.
Right. But no,
crazy.
There were several ideas that I had that I actually scripted out from beginning to end, storyboarding, and they were these type of ideas, these cheap, goofy, like there was one about killer leeches, and that's all it was.
I feel that was made a movie, yeah?
Probably.
Don't we have that?
Probably. But they're like giant mutated killer leeches that just like swarmed everybody, and I just, that was my thing. That was the story, and this was why,
Right?
For whatever reason, that inspired me. These movies inspired me. So I don't want to hear a bad thing about the man. And, I worry every day that some story's going to come out and you're going to have an actor say he forced himself upon me like fat ass Weinstein.
It's so horrible that you got to think about that. So hopefully not. I don't know. I never trust anything from like 80s, 90s, way even earlier. I just unfortunately assumed they all went through it, unfortunately, because those were the times. It was okay. Not okay, but I'm just saying,
no.
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
That was just what we did.
Yeah. Well, that was just the times, man. We can't help it.
You just got to get with the times, yeah.
I mean, like, racism was a thing back in the 50s. We just kind of did with it. It's like, okay, it's okay. We just rolled with it.
Remind me, what did Sean Connery do again?
Yeah.
That's my joke. I just give him a little slap.
So yeah, there's my little story. Hopefully I'll have a more fleshed out idea for you next week, because I've got 2 good ones that I'd really love to share, and I'm hoping that I can get them done. So
Get some spoopy stuff in there, right?
yeah,
So go for your spoopy
perfect for the holiday.
Excellent. Well, all right then. I think that's our show. Yeah. You can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash, or go to Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts his time and love into, or I guess get rid of Dude who keeps advertising.
Yeah, don't promote Reality Records on my shit anymore, okay? Stop.
There you go. Help push that comment down. You can also send an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com. And you can support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app, or even going to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions. Or if you want just even more entertainment, go over to youtube.com/pencil and paper productions for more. And we're getting great at Discord. I think we're nailing it.
I think we're doing good.
I think we're nailing it. I think you should come in though and join in our tomfoolery and make us better, which the link is in the description down below. So thank you for listening. I am Lacia Finley.
I am Stephen White.
And you could join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.